So, I'm at a bit of an impasse and it's causing so much friction between everyone involved, but I genuinely don't think I'm wrong here. It's very complicated, so I'll do my best to make it make sense. I've been married to my husband, Tom, for a year, and we've been together for 4 years. I'm 26 years old and he's 28 years old, if that's important. We're in the northeast of England. Since I met Tom and was introduced to the family home, I loved it. It's old and cluttered with memories and decorated in a very rustic, cozy, and warm style. Great-granddad hasn't changed the decor since his late wife passed, and the two of them put in so much work and effort over the years to make it a beautiful home. Every week when Tom is in the office, I'd drive over to his great-grandfather's and help him tend to his vegetable patches and do some general maintenance on the house with him, and then we'd sit down with some tea and catch up. It's always very relaxed and genuinely enjoyable time. A few weeks ago, he mentioned that he was updating his will and asked if it was okay to have me inherit the house and land. I was beyond shocked, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited. Before I could ask him why, he said that he wanted to leave it to me because I always make time to humor an old man. He said I could pay off the inheritance tax without too much bother, and the home wouldn't be sold. He said he loves his family, but they'd sell it and use the money to pay off the inheritance tax. I'm not sure how exactly inheritance tax works. He also mentioned other issues, such as it being easier to contest if most of his estate was left to one blood relative, Tom. Again, I haven't a clue. He expressed that he wanted the home to be filled up with kids someday because we would often joke about how many children my husband and I would have. I'd always go ridiculously high, but Tom and I realistically agree we want a good few, so 4 or 5 if we can and are in a position to. I'm an only child, and based on my experiences, I didn't enjoy being one. We actually had a very nice talk about how he and his late wife wanted many children, but she struggled with fertility and they were lucky to get the one they did. I agreed to his request and was very grateful to him for the thought, on the condition I talked to Tom about it first. Tom was hesitant because it would be stopping the rest of the family from a fortune, but soon agreed because of the sentimentality and wanting to keep the home in the family for his great-grandparents, knowing the others would surely sell it. Now to the uneasy part. As you can imagine, if sold on today's market, the home would be very expensive. The last time it was looked over, it was estimated at $1.3 million, and that was before my husband and I married. Nowadays, it'll probably be closer to $2 million with the ever-rising housing costs. So, for me to get the home, all I would need to pay on it would be the inheritance tax rather than the $2 million. So, about $600,000 if we calculated right, which is unlikely. He's put aside more than half of that, so all I'd have to do is pay the remainder. When other members of the family found out that he had updated his will like this, I was enemy number 1. Everyone was expecting to sell the house and use the money to pay off the tax and still have over $1 million left between them. The home was supposed to go to Granddad's daughter, my husband's grandmother, but she passed before I came into the picture. The ones arguing are my husband's aunt and 2 uncles and their children, 5 between them. They've called me every name under the sun at this point, including that I'm preying on an old, senile man. That's hilarious to me because all of them have always been the ones to say how clear-minded he is for his age. Funny how that changes now. The most hurtful one is that I'm a gold digger and after the family money just because I was raised on a council estate. On one hand, I get what they're saying. It's a lot of money to be missing out on. But I also sort of feel as if it isn't their money to miss. Like, Granddad has clearly said that he doesn't want the house sold and he's making moves to do that. He has a lot of cars, etc., that will be going to them, so it isn't like they'll miss out. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm being a jerk here because this is what he wants and he's given good reasoning, but I see how some people would suffer because of it. Also, I would like to point out that no one vying for the sale is short on money, so it isn't as if they're in dire straits. If that were the case, I would feel worse about it. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Don't count other people's money or belongings. It's his house to do with what he wants when the time comes, which could still be 20 to 30 years from now for all anyone knows. My husband and I both had grandmothers that lived to be 100. They can suck eggs, not the idiot. Comment 2. Until he passes away and the property actually passes to you, it doesn't matter. He could always update his will again and change his mind. And you could always predecease him. It's his property and his decision. Everyone else is just being greedy. Now, for the update, the past 2 weeks have been a whirlwind. After the initial shock of the will update, things have settled into a sort of uneasy routine. The family's reaction to the will has been, well, less than ideal. I've been on the receiving end of some pretty harsh words and cold shoulders. It's been tough, but I've been trying to keep my head up and focus on the bigger picture. Tom has been my rock through all of this. He's been dealing with his own mixed feelings about the situation, but he's been supportive of me and his great-granddad's wishes. We've had some long talks about what this all means for us and our future, and we've been trying to navigate this as a team. Great-granddad has been surprisingly spry for his age, and he's been sticking to his guns. He's made it clear to everyone that his decision is final, and he's not going to be swayed by anyone's opinion. He's been a bit more tired lately, though, and I've been spending even more time at the house, helping out where I can and making sure he's not overexerting himself. The rest of the family has been a mixed bag. Some have been outright hostile, while others have been more resigned to the situation. I've tried to reach out and explain that this isn't about the money for me, that I genuinely care about the house and great-granddad's legacy, but it's been tough to get through to them. In the midst of all this, I've been doing my research on inheritance tax and what it would mean for us financially. It's a lot to take in, but I'm determined to figure it out. We've been saving up and planning for the future, and while the thought of that tax bill is daunting, it's not insurmountable. The house itself has been a source of comfort. It's been a place of peace amidst the storm of family drama. I've been spending more time in the garden, tending to the vegetable patches, and it's been therapeutic. The house has a way of making all the noise fade away, and I've been grateful for that. There have been some small victories, too. One of Tom's cousins reached out to me last week to apologize for the things that were said. She admitted that the family had been unfair to me and that she understood why great-granddad made his decision. It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot. Tom and I have also been talking more seriously about starting a family. It's been a dream of ours for a while, and with the prospect of the house being ours, it feels more real than ever. We've been imagining little feet running across the wooden floors and laughter filling the rooms. It's a bright spot in all of this. As for the rest of the family, things are still tense, but there have been signs of thawing. I've noticed a few less glares at family gatherings, and some of the aunts and uncles have been more civil. It's not perfect, but it's progress. I've been trying to focus on the positives. The house is more than just a building. It's a piece of history. A place filled with love and memories. It's a place where Tom and I can build our future, where we can honor great-granddad's legacy. The road ahead is still uncertain, and there are challenges to face, but I'm hopeful. With Tom by my side and the support of at least some of the family, I think we can get through this. And maybe, just maybe, we can turn this house into a home for the next generation, just like great-granddad wanted. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Been in a similar boat when my aunt left me her condo. Family went nuts. But you know what? She wanted someone who cared for her, not her assets, to have it. It's tough, but if you're honoring great-granddad's wishes, that's what counts. They'll cool off eventually. Mine did. Comment 2. Have you considered setting up a trust or fund for the family with some of the estate's value? It might ease tensions. Also, kudos to you and Tom for sticking together through this. It's a testament to your relationship. What's your plan to maintain family peace in the long run? Now, for the next story. I have a stepbrother who quite literally gets money just handed to him constantly. Meanwhile, he spends all his money on stupid stuff like guns or PlayStation 5s that his kids break. My point is they are very well off and don't struggle financially. Well, they have dogs, 4 to be exact, and my sister-in-law posted on Facebook that she's giving away 2. One of them they've had for over a year. Since it was a puppy, her name is Pumpkin. It's my dog's best friend and best playdate. I asked what's wrong and why the dogs are on Facebook. I was told by her that Pumpkin started growling at their youngest child randomly. Now I know this dog, she's the sweetest dog I've ever met, so I know the youngest did something to the dog to warrant it. I know the youngest is pretty bad at times and they do nothing about it. I sent over some information to use that includes separating the child and dog and to gradually introduce them again once things are calmed. The response I got back was, "We think it's best to just rehome." Fine, whatever, except this isn't the first time they've posted a dog on Facebook. Every time they get a pet, our family notices at some point each and every pet they get goes up on Facebook eventually. So I asked my sister-in-law what the other dog did. "It's just a puppy. How bad can it be?" Her response, "It's too shy. We don't have time to train it." What? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She's literally a stay-at-home mom. She's got time to train this dog, and if she didn't, why did she bring it home to begin with? She found the shy one a home on Facebook, and I thought, cool, maybe Pumpkin has hope not to be thrown into a shelter. Wrong. She texted me the next morning saying how sad she is that she's got to take the dogs to the shelter and how she's on her way there now. I'm shocked because I thought they were only getting rid of 2. One had a home, so why is she saying dogs? So I message back, "Then don't?" To which she replies that she has to. I straight up told her I don't feel bad for her, I feel bad for the poor dogs. She went on to bring up an instance years ago when I was in a bad home situation and had to move out in one night that I had to take my dog into a shelter because I couldn't bring her with me. I was obviously broke and didn't have the money for a pet deposit, so I had to make the unfortunate decision to put her in shelter care. I've only ever done this with one dog and it tore me up, and I still regret it. These people do this every year, to the point that when they get another pet, the whole family rolls their E's and starts a countdown. We thought that when they got a house given to them, maybe they'd try and keep these ones, but I'm almost certain they took the last 3 they have in. They also have the money to get these dogs trained, but chose to get a new gun instead when they already have multiple. They're mad I pointed out a pattern and blocked me on all forms of social media. To make matters worse, it was all on the day of their gender reveal. I gotta know, am I the jerk? Edit. Some people believe I'm jealous for whatever reason, because of how I worded the beginning. I meant it to show that he has no issues or struggles popping out kids and no money struggles. However, he acts as though they have no other choice. They can't commit to a single pet they bring home. If you believe otherwise, that's fine. Regardless, I love my brother. I just can't stand his decisions. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Talk to local shelters and breeders. Let them know about this dog abandonment habit. She needs to be blacklisted. And so does he. No more pets for them. Not the idiot, and I'd like to throw dog poop at their faces. Now, for the update. A few days ago, I found out that my sister-in-law was planning to give away 2 of their dogs, including Pumpkin, who is my dog's best friend. I was upset, but I hoped they would find a good home for Pumpkin at least. The other dog, a shy puppy, had already been rehomed through Facebook. I thought that was the end of it, but things took a turn for the worse. The next day, my sister-in-law texted me saying she was sad because she was on her way to the shelter with the dogs. I was confused because I thought only 2 dogs were being given away, and one had already found a home. I messaged her, asking why she was taking the dogs to the shelter if she didn't have to. Her response was that she felt she had no choice. I couldn't help but remind her of the pattern they had with pets and how they could afford training but chose not to. This led to her blocking me on social media, and it all happened on the day of their gender reveal. The day after the gender reveal, I was still blocked, and I had no updates on the dogs. I felt helpless and frustrated. I couldn't understand how they could just give up on their pets so easily, especially when they had the means to take care of them. I spent the day thinking about Pumpkin and hoping she wouldn't end up in a shelter for long. On the 3rd day, I got a call from a local number I didn't recognize. It was the animal shelter. They told me someone had dropped off not 2, but 3 dogs. My heart sank as I realized my sister-in-law had lied about rehoming the shy puppy. They had taken all 3 remaining dogs to the shelter, including Pumpkin. The shelter had found my number on Pumpkin's microchip registration, which was still under my name from when I had helped them register her as a puppy. I was furious and heartbroken. I couldn't believe they would do this to their pets. I rushed to the shelter to see Pumpkin and the other dogs. When I got there, I was greeted by the sight of Pumpkin and the shy puppy huddled together in a kennel. The 3rd dog, a senior they had never mentioned, looked up at me with sad eyes. I was shocked. They had never told anyone about this older dog. It was clear they had been hiding the fact that they had more pets than they claimed. I spent some time with the dogs, and the shelter staff explained that they were overwhelmed with animals and might not be able to keep them for long. I knew I had to do something. I called my parents and explained the situation. They were as shocked as I was, but they agreed to help. We decided to take in Pumpkin and the shy puppy temporarily. The senior dog, however, would need more care than we could provide. I posted about the dogs on my own social media, explaining the situation without mentioning my brother or sister-in-law by name. The community response was overwhelming. People were outraged and offered to help. A local rescue group saw my post and reached out. They specialized in senior dogs and wanted to take in the older dog to give him the care he needed. By the end of the day, Pumpkin and the shy puppy were settling in at my parents' house, and the senior dog was on his way to the rescue. I was relieved that the dogs were safe, but I was still angry at my brother and sister-in-law. Then, late that night, I got another unexpected call. It was my brother. He had heard about what happened from a family friend who saw my post. He was furious, not at me, but at his wife. He had no idea she had taken all 3 dogs to the shelter. He thought she had found homes for them. He apologized profusely and said he wanted to make things right. I was stunned. I had been so sure that they were both to blame for the situation, but it turned out my brother had been kept in the dark about the fate of the dogs. He explained that he had been busy with work and had trusted his wife to handle the rehoming responsibly. He was just as upset as I was that the dogs had ended up in a shelter. My brother came over the next day to see Pumpkin and the shy puppy. He was heartbroken and promised to find a way to keep them in the family. He also made a generous donation to the rescue that took in the senior dog. The situation was far from resolved, but for the first time in a long time, I felt like my brother was taking responsibility for his actions. It was a small step, but it gave me hope that maybe, just maybe, things could change for the better. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Hey there, I totally get why you're upset. Pets are family, and it's tough to see them treated like they're disposable. Just wondering, have you considered reaching out to local rescue organizations for advice? They might have resources or training suggestions that could help your stepbrother's family keep their pets. It's always worth a shot to prevent these situations. Hang in there. Comment 2. That's a rough situation, and it's clear you care a lot about these dogs. If you're looking for a more permanent solution for Pumpkin and the other dog, maybe you could help screen potential adopters? It's a way to ensure they land in a loving home that's prepared for their needs. Plus, it might ease your mind knowing they're well taken care of. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.